Someday, you'll sit on the throne and the truth will be what you make it.
A mother just handed her son permission to delete reality, not to lie about it, but to replace it. Cersei Lannister is not comforting a frightened boy on the Kingsroad. She is installing an operating system. Almost every cruel thing Joffrey will ever do traces back to one quiet sentence in this tent, and the chilling part is how gentle it sounds while she says it. To calculate the atmospheric pressure of this Kingsroad camp, we must understand exactly what each person inside this tent has already lost. Cersei is the queen, but her power is borrowed. It lives inside a marriage to a king who can barely stand to look at her, and beside a throne that will pass to her son the moment her husband dies. Joffrey is that son. He is soft, vain, and easily frightened. And only hours ago, the cracks showed in public. A girl's direwolf bit him near the river, and instead of fighting, he dropped his sword and screamed while two Stark daughters watched the future king fall apart. That story is now loose in the camp. If it spreads, Joffrey is weak before he ever wears a crown, and weakness in Westeros gets you buried. Cersei cannot silence every witness who saw it, so she does something far more dangerous than murder.
You're a warrior, like your father.
I'm not like him. I didn't fight off anything, it bit me, and all I did was scream.
Listen closely to what the boy is actually confessing, because it is not really about the wound. Joffrey is not ashamed that he got hurt. He is ashamed that he was seen being afraid. To him, the cut on his arm matters far less than the crack in his reputation, and that single instinct tells you who raised him. He has already absorbed the deepest Lannister rule without anyone ever teaching it out loud, that a man is only as strong as the story other people believe about him. And right now, the story is humiliating. He measures himself against his father and comes up empty, certain he is nothing like the warrior everyone expects him to be. Cersei watches her son sink into that shame, and a softer mother might sit with him in it, might tell him fear is human, and that it passes. She does the opposite. She reaches for the one tool a Lannister trusts above all others: narrative supremacy. The belief that owning the accepted version of an event matters far more than owning what actually happened. Watch how quickly she moves. She does not calm his fear or correct his behavior. She rewrites the footage playing in his head and hands him a braver version of the same night, edited while he is still too shaken to notice the cut.
And the two Stark girls saw it, both of them.
That's not true. You killed the beast. You only spared the girl because of the love your father bears her father.
None of that is real. Joffrey killed nothing. The younger Stark girl's wolf bit him and bolted into the trees, and a gentle innocent direwolf named Lady was put down in its place to satisfy the queen's anger. Cersei knows the true order of events perfectly well. She recites the false one anyway, calm and even, the way a teacher corrects a wrong answer on a slate. And this is the moment that should unsettle you most. She is not lying here to save her own skin or to fool an enemy across a battlefield. She is lying directly into her son's memory of his own life, overriding what he knows happened with what she needs him to believe instead. Gaslighting. Making someone doubt their own clear memory by calmly presenting a false version as the obvious truth. The most frightening part is how fast it takes. Joffrey does not push back. A breath later he gives in, admitting only that he simply did not realize, already trading his real memory for hers without a fight. He does not even seem to grieve the version he is losing, because she has made surrender feel like relief. The truth was painful and made him small. Her replacement is flattering and makes him a hero. Given that choice, a frightened child takes the lie every time, and learns to keep taking it. Once a child accepts that his own mother controls what counts as true, he stops trusting his eyes and starts trusting her voice. Years from now, that same frightened boy will sign death warrants for anyone who still remembers the screaming, and he will feel righteous doing it. There is a gentler sounding moment a little later in the same tent, and it carries the very same poison underneath the warmth.
You are my darling boy, and the world will be exactly as you want it to be.
On the surface, this sounds like pure love, a mother promising her child the whole world. But read it a second time and the promise turns cold. She does not offer to help him earn the world, or to stand beside him while he fights for it. She promises that reality itself will bend to his wants, that no person and no fact will ever be allowed to tell him no. On most children, a line like that would be an empty comfort whispered in the dark. On a future king with armies and headsmen at his command, it lands like a sentence passed on an entire kingdom. Cersei is quietly removing the single thing that keeps any powerful person tethered to the world. The ordinary, humbling experience of being told you are wrong and having to live with it. A child who hears no from the world grows a conscience around it. A child promised the world will obey grows only an appetite.
Machiavellian parenting, raising a child to treat truth, kindness, and other people as tools to be used rather than limits to be respected.
By the time Joffrey sits the Iron Throne, he will not understand why the world keeps resisting him. because the only voice he ever fully trusted promised him it never would. And Cersei is exact about how that power should be worn in front of an audience.
Do something nice for the Stark girl.
I don't want to.
No, but you will. The occasional kindness will spare you all sorts of trouble down the road.
Notice the precise words she chooses. She does not tell him to be kind. She tells him to do something that merely looks kind. To Cersei, decency is set dressing, a costume you slip on while the audience is watching and peel off the second the curtain falls. In her mind, cruelty and kindness are not opposites at all. They are two settings on the same machine, and a clever ruler simply reaches for whichever one buys more control in the moment. A cruel king makes open enemies. A king who performs the occasional mercy makes those same enemies grateful, confused, and slow to move against him. So Joffrey absorbs another piece of the design, that a smile can be a quieter, cheaper weapon than a blade, and that warmth itself is just one more thing you fake to get your way. Here is the twist most viewers miss. Cersei does not only teach this philosophy to her son, she runs her entire life by it. And a few scenes later, we catch her doing exactly that, far from the boy, with the stakes raised from a bruised ego to a child's life. Her twin brother Jaime has just shoved a 10-year-old boy, Bran Stark, out of a high tower window, because Bran climbed up and saw the two of them together in a way no one was ever meant to see. The fall did not kill him. He lies broken in his bed at Winterfell, and the queen is furious, not heavy with guilt over what was done, but irritated at how messy and careless the whole thing has become.
How could you be so stupid?
Calm down.
He's a child. 10 years old. What were you thinking?
I was thinking of us.
Hear the cold arithmetic buried in 4 words. I was thinking of us. A boy lies shattered at the foot of a tower, and Cersei's mind has already skipped past the horror straight to the logistics, sorting the wreckage into a story the family can survive. It is the same flat calm she used to rewrite Joffrey's shame on the Kingsroad, only now it is aimed at an attempted murder. Cersei and Jaime have spent their whole lives building a private world where only the two of them are fully real, and everyone outside it, husbands, children, witnesses, is a problem to be quietly managed. Inside that sealed-off world, what happened to Bran does not land as a tragedy. It lands as a loose end, a leak in the story that needs to be plugged before it reaches the wrong ears. There is no room in their shared reality for the boy to be a victim, because admitting that would mean admitting they are the villains, and that thought is simply not allowed inside the wall they have built around each other. Folie à deux. A shared false reality that two deeply bonded people build together and defend against the truth, and against everyone outside it. That sealed world is exactly where Joffrey's lesson comes from. Long before she ever taught him to bend the truth, Cersei had already been bending it every single day, beside the one person who agreed to bend it alongside her. And then she says the line that exposes the whole machine behind Joffrey's future cruelty.
Then what are you raving about?
What if it comes back to him? He tells his father what he saw.
We'll say he was lying. We'll say he was dreaming. We'll say whatever we like.
Strip away the setting, and you are hearing Cersei's entire faith spoken out loud. He was lying. He was dreaming. Whatever we like. The truth of what a child saw with his own eyes is treated as wet clay, something to be pressed into whatever shape keeps the Lannisters safe that week. This is the grown, fully armed version of the gentle thing she whispered to her son beside the river. On the Kingsroad, she told Joffrey the truth would be whatever he chose to make it. In this room, we watch the woman who has been quietly making it for years, long before he was ever old enough to listen. She does not even reach for a knife to deal with Bran. She reaches for doubt instead, because a dead witness creates dangerous questions, while a discredited one simply dissolves into nobody believing a word he says. Plausible deniability. Arranging the story in advance so that even if the truth surfaces, you can credibly deny it and force the doubt onto the witness instead. A knife leaves a body and a mystery for someone to solve. A flood of competing explanations leaves nothing anyone can prove, and Cersei has always understood, in her bones, which of the two is harder to fight. And she is utterly certain it will work, the way most people are certain of gravity.
I think we can outfox a 10-year-old.
And my husband.
I'll go to war with him if I have to.
There is no fear anywhere in her voice. There is only planning. A broken child is a puzzle to be outwitted, and a husband who might object is just one more obstacle to outlast, or outlive. Cersei has spent her whole life learning a single brutal rule. The winner is rarely the one who is right, and almost always the one who gets to decide what right will mean afterward. In her own mind, none of this is monstrous. She is forging a survivor, fitting her son with the only armor that ever kept her alive in a world built to break women like her. The cruelty everyone will later blame on Joffrey did not appear out of nowhere. He inherited it, quietly, in a tent on the road north, from a mother who had already decided that truth belongs to whoever is strong enough to name it first. She is not handing him a flaw. In her eyes, she is handing him a key, the same key that unlocked her own survival, and she expects him to be grateful for it one day. But here is what the show never told you. In George R.R. Martin's novels, Cersei carries a secret from childhood that explains almost everything you just watched. As a girl, she cornered a swamp witch called Maggie the Frog and demanded to know her future, and the witch told her she would indeed be queen, until a younger, more beautiful queen came to cast her down and take everything she held dear, and that every one of her children would die before her. Cersei spends the rest of her life sprinting from a prophecy she cannot argue with, bribe, or rewrite. The books barely let her breathe without its shadow on her. So when she leans over her son and teaches him that truth is his to shape, she is not simply passing on confidence. She is handing him the only weapon she has ever trusted against a future she cannot control. The desperate faith that the world will be whatever a Lannister insists it is. You have met this exact move far outside of Westeros. It is the manager who, after a public failure, calmly rewrites the meeting in everyone's memory until the disaster somehow becomes the plan all along. Think of a partner steadily insisting that a painful shared past was actually wonderful, repeating it so often that the other person quietly stops trusting their own memory of it. The trick underneath is always the same. Shape the story while it is still soft, before anyone else can set it in place. And you never have to win the argument later. Whoever speaks first and speaks calmest owns the record, and everyone who comes later is only correcting it. By the time it matters, yours is the only version left standing for anyone to remember. So here is the question worth fighting over. Did Cersei truly create the monster in Joffrey? Or did she simply hand a cruel boy the perfect permission, already knowing exactly what he was? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in the next.